Mm-mm. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of What's Happening Now. As always, remember to like, share, and comment on this broadcast, as there could be some vital information that's in here tonight, not only useful to yourself and your family, but maybe to another family member, friend, or relative. Coming up for CNI Solutions, we're going to be hosting our HBCU initiative starting next week. It's going to be an entrepreneurial course that we're going to be doing for the HBCUs in the state of Alabama. We are excited about that. We're collaborating with Hustle Healthier, who's going to be adding a twist to this particular entrepreneurial course, where we're going to be giving them a little bit of mental health class during the entrepreneur and showing how it is important to have a mental health in your entrepreneurial journey. So tonight's broadcast is being brought to you by Will Technology. Will Technology hosts services of government services, both for not just only the United States military, but also for other government agencies, to include NASA. All right. So tonight in the studio, we have a very, very special guest, and I'm excited to have her here because she is going to be talking about a little bit about something that I think a lot of our kids and probably your kids are going through. We have Miss Brown here to talk about Gabby. Yes. So exactly what is Gabby?
Hi, everybody. Gabby is Girls Against Being Bullied, Inc.
Okay. Yes. So how did Gabby get started?
So Gabby got started. Interesting story here. My daughter started a new school last year for fourth grade, and she got in the car the first day of school, and I asked her how her day went, and she broke down crying. She started experiencing bullying, being bullied for the first time. And as a mother, not really knowing what to do for her, how to help, we tried a lot of different things, communicating with administration, trying to figure it out, asking for meetings with the parents to figure out what was going on. And then one day she got physically attacked. This for the second time, and I was headed up to the school. I was very upset, and I was about to need some bail money there. But my co-founder, the co-founder of Gabby, I was on the phone with him at that time, Adrian Hargrove, and he said, "No, we're going to turn this into a positive." And so from that, Gabby was created and born.
You know, so for so many years, and folks, I'm sure some of you all probably could relate to. Growing up, if there was a bully in school, we was always taught, deal with it. Stop being a crybaby. Like this. If they're pushing you, push them back, or something like that. But I have noticed over the years, though, children who are being now bullied, they tend to withdraw. They tend to want to commit suicide because they can't take the pressure as what's happening in school. So bullying is very, very serious. And it's not just from the physical aspect nowadays, but so much virtual and so much technology going on. There's even, I think they call it the cyberbullying as well. So that is something else that we have to get watched out for. So your child's being bullied, and of course, like you said, you're ready to fight for yours and go to jail and make it happen. You created this movement, you created this organization. Yes. How do you get other children involved in this?
Really, it was so easy. It was a lot easier than we thought. We decided to have our first meeting. So the first meeting was not necessarily an activity. It was just a meeting to have a round table, bring some girls together. And we just called parents. We sent out information and people showed up. We did social media posts and people showed up. And I think our first meeting, we probably had about 15 to 20 girls. Very successful meeting, and we had a great time. And we decided, we're going to keep this thing going. And so we meet up every other month. But I do want to go back to what you said about how we respond to bullying, right? So when I grew up, I used to get bullied because I was really tall and I would flood, and my mom wouldn't, my pants wouldn't come all the way down.
We used to call them high waters back in the day, y'all.
I had to wear those. And so I had to adjust. And so I learned how to crack back or joke back.
Right.
And so then I became, the funny person that could give it back. Had to learn how to fight a little bit. So that is true. My daughter, however, she's the tallest person in her class too, but she's not made that way.
Right.
And so, we were just latchkey kids growing up, right? So we had to.
Ooh, man, I ain't heard that term in a long time, man.
But we
got way back.
Right, and we got shelter kids now. And so even with her being tall and the person that was hitting her, both of the people that hit her were so much smaller than her, but she was still terrified and didn't know how to react. And so even with me saying, hit them back, that was my first initial response. But then I said, I got to do something different because she still was retreating and withdrawing and scared to respond in the way that I would. And so I had to say, I can't try to make her respond the way I would or do it the way I would. I have to adjust my message to who she is.
Wow. Hey, folks, those who are watching just joined in, please take time to share this because I tell you what, Ms. Bryant's got a lot of good information that she's going to put out today. And perhaps maybe your kid or child, niece, nephew, they might be going through something that's similar. And there's going to be certain signs and things that you need to look out for those kids. So, and as I speak about that,
yes.
What did you notice different that was starting to happen with your child as she was being bullied and her emotional state, how it changed at home?
She became aggressive, even with her brothers and sisters. She has a little brother and a little sister. And so when they would do something she didn't like or take something that wasn't hers, she would yell and snatch and try to overcompensate, I believe, for where she was feeling, not really knowing, again, how to manage her emotions. And I think even in the bullying situation, feeling like a lack of control. And so these are situations where she is more comfortable asserting herself. And so we had to deal with that and work through how she responds, because you cannot control what people do, but you can control how you respond.
Right.
And so that's been our message. And we still, it's gotten a lot better, but we've had to kind of deal with that. Even with my co-founder, Adrian Hargrove, kind of stepping in as a mentor, as a third party to kind of help her think through situations. And we really look at, why are you making these decisions? Why did you lash out? Why did you respond? Did you have to do that? Was it that deep? So we are starting to get better with that. I also noticed just more of a, let me see if I can say this right, with her work. She still is an A student, but just being just more, not really interested in school, not really wanting to go back to school. And so we're getting back now, 5th grade, to the point where we're excited about academics again. We're excited about math. And so we're emphasizing all the great things about school and teaching her again, which is why we were created. Gabby was created, teaching her how to navigate through a situation that she might not be able to change.
Wow. That is amazing. I am a father of 3 boys, and when they were going through school, I never once thought about them being bullied or perhaps they were the bulliers. I don't know, because no one never came to me and they never talked to me. And you said something that was very profound. You said, that first day of school, you took time out to ask her, how was school? And so often we as parents, we don't think about to talk to them about school and what they were going through, what was good about school, what was bad about school. And so I think that is something that we need to start changing in our communities, to actually talk to our kids and find out what was going on. What happened today that made you happy, or what happened today that made you sad, that got you to that point. So that is a definitely change that we need to do.
And I want to tell you too, so I'm a Pinterest person. I go to Pinterest for everything. But one thing I Pinterest was how to better communicate with your child, right? So we do have a tendency to say, how was your day? And so if something happened, they might say, fine. So now we ask targeted questions. What was the best thing about your day? Tell me something that happened that was not so good or that you didn't like. And so now we get that conversation. Well, this happened, or this person said that and I didn't like that. So now they're more engaged in that conversation. And so you have to ask those targeted questions that get them to open up and talk to you a little bit more.
So besides having Gabby and creating this organization, you are actually trying to be more involved with the school and the organization and dealing with the principals and other children as well. Like this, how does that work?
So with my bullying situation, we actually went up to the state level and we had attorneys involved. And so when I talked to someone at the state board, she said that we're concerned about the bullies too, and we got to get to the root of the problem. And so initially my response was, well, I can understand that, but my situation is with my child and that's my concern. And so God had to convict me, because one thing that I wanted to do is just be concerned with my own situation, what's going on in my household, get my daughter together. But all of them are our daughters and our children. And so we can impact all of the situation, all of the girls and the boys that are going through this, then we, even if it's just a seed, even if it's one activity that they came to that can stick with them, that can help them. But we're responsible not just for our own household.
That is outstanding. Yeah. I know you have an initiative coming up here real soon, I think on the 17th. If I get the producer put that up for us, what is going on with that and this initiative that y'all got going on here, the suicide prevention rally? Let's talk to me a little bit about this.
Okay, so as I again was just doing research on suicide and on bullying and some of the impacts of it and things like that, really I ran across this clip from an episode of Dr. Phil. And there was a mother on there whose daughter had committed suicide. And what the conversation was that she had done all the right things. Dr. Phil said, you did everything right, asking, being involved, going to the schools. And so I thought that could so easily be me, because I'm thinking that I'm doing all the right things and it still could be something that I'm missing. And so what we try to do is structure some of our events around Awareness Month. So for instance, Stress Awareness Month, we did something with JQ Ellis at Fitness Defied, and we had the girls come to learn ways to relieve stress, and exercise is one. And so they did circuit training to learn to increase happy endorphins, and they did the aerial pods to relax and learn about self-care. And so we try to structure our events around awareness months. And because so many young people are taking their lives or attempting to as a result of bullying, because they don't know how to navigate through that space, parents don't have the resources or understanding of how to help them. My heart was so moved by watching her story, and I just felt like that could just be me. I'm trying the best I can. And so we wanted to do a suicide prevention rally to bring awareness to the bullying, to bring awareness and help parents understand how to communicate, how to recognize the signs, the symptoms, because again, it could just lead down that path, unfortunately.
And you're so right. And so often that, we always think it's not me. It doesn't happen to me. It won't be my child. It won't be my family. We always think that until it happens. And then when it happens, oh man, where do I get my help from? And where did this happen like this? And trying to be preventive at it now is the right step to take. Folks, those of you who are viewing and those of you who happen to be in the area, September 17th, the suicide prevention. If you know someone or a child that's in that particular, please have them come down there. Producer, you can put it back up there for them again, so that if they didn't get a chance to get that address, if they didn't get a chance to understand what time they're going to be doing that. I tell you what, CNI Solutions, we're going to be in there in the presence. We're going to be setting up down there. There's going to be a whole host of other organizations down there as well. So please, if you know someone in this predicament, if you have a parent, if you know a single parent that might be struggling, or you see that their child is struggling, come on down. Come on down, and this is the time. And I guess it's a girls' organization.
It is.
But it's not just for those who've been bullied, though. It can a girl who might not be bullied, but who likes to be around or try to help, they can be part of this organization as well, right?
Yes, because we have girls that are shy, that are withdrawn, that feel out of place when they go places, don't really know how to integrate. And so one of our rules is, when you see a new face, you have to go. I need at least 3 to 4 girls to go and make her feel welcome, embrace her, connect with her, exchange numbers, build relationships.
That is awesome.
And so we definitely do that. And this rally is for girls and boys ages 5 to 19, and not just for children that are experiencing or showing symptoms now, right? Because we always are reactive, but this is being proactive, and we're getting ahead of it, and we're going to be training you how to recognize the symptoms, the signs. We have SBARC coming down from Hoover, Alabama, to train us and give us certifications. We're having discussion panels for the parents and adults. We're having workshops, and again, the community resources. Any organization that can help improve get your life, your way of life, they can help take some of the burden off, some of the stress, to help you along the way. Mentorship programs, counseling services. We have some churches sponsoring and being represented. Anything you can think of, we tried to have it here. And so I think we're at about 25 to 30 organizations. We even have an organization that's coming to help parents adjust to life after divorce, to help their children and help them and mentor them to get life back together after divorce, a path to home buying, to home ownership. So we just have so many different, you just don't know what people need, right? And so we try to think of everything that could just take some of the weight off and some of the burden off, and help the parents that are overwhelmed, who might not have time to say what specifically happened in your day.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Prior to us going live, when we were backstage and we were talking, you said something that I found it was really interesting, and I want you to kind of capitalize on that. You said that your plan is to get the bullies.
That's right.
To become part of the organization, or have at least come talk to them. How does one do that? How do you identify calling somebody's child a bully? Well, you're a bully, so you need to come to this. How does that work?
So there's two things. As I was saying, you'd be really surprised how many parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, when they hear about Gabby and what we do, they say, well, my niece or my grandchild is the bully, but they got bullied and now they're the aggressor. And so they're like, well, do you do anything, and can you do anything? And so that's the first part. And then you remember, we go back to that conversation with the state where she said they got to get to the root of the problem, and they're concerned about the bullies. And so what we want to do is partner with the schools and with some of the different organizations to say, again, before we got to that school in the 4th grade, these same bullies were an issue years before my daughter got there. Right. So even when I was like, hey, I went to a parent, I was like, hey, we had this situation. And they were like, oh, I know that name. So they already know who these people are. And so for me, what we're looking at is when we have those repeat bullies or repeat situations, then them and their parent need to come to training, to some type of workshop that we have to get a certificate of completion. And we want to, that's with the school system, but we want to try to help, again, relieve some of the pressure on the parents, see what's going on, get to the root of the problem, and try to change the trajectory of their lives as well. But just starting off, word of mouth. Again, if I'm looking at the camera, if you have a family member or a loved one that is a little overly aggressive for whatever reason, it's lots of reasons that we're bullies. Excuse me. So yeah, we're looking forward to doing that next year.
That is awesome. Hey, guys, those out there, if you got a question for Ms. Bryant, please put it in the chat. Our producer will get it to us. So that she can answer that. If you know someone out there who is a bully, like she just said, or even if yourself, you have a comment about you being a bully, going through your years and what caused you to get to that stage, that can help give some insight to help these younger generations, to make that change and do things for the better. Please let us know. Put it there in the chat. So, Gabby, girls against being bullied, but we know there's more than just girls who are bullying. I'm sure there's a whole lot of boys out there. Is there a babby, in the works or something like that? Is there something for the boys? Is there a sister organization that you're a part of or know of that can help these young men who are being bullied or the bullies themselves?
So Adrian Hargrove, who is co-founder of Gabby, also has a nonprofit called the Heart Grove. And so right now they're our parent 501c3, and he is working to create an organization or a program for the boys to help them. But in the meantime, we refer them or, have other organizations that are geared towards helping young men. And they'll actually be at the event at the event as a resource table. Two of them, the Jared Lockett Foundation and Our Father's Mad, will be there as well represented. So we're excited about that.
Okay, all right, good. Well, I'm personally glad to know there's like quote unquote a Babby out there.
Yes.
It may not necessarily be Gabby. That might not be the right word I'm using,
Right.
but I'm trying to stay in context with Gabby. So that is awesome. That is awesome that you guys are out here doing that for these kids, because we always find that there's so much that our youth need, and we tend to overlook it.
We do.
We tend to overlook it. And I really, really applaud you guys for doing that and making that. So you're here in Huntsville,
yes,
Alabama.
Yes.
Do you expand out beyond the borders of Madison County? Do you go down to Birmingham or down to Tuscaloosa? For that matter, are we going outside the state? Are we going to Georgia or Tennessee or Mississippi?
We are definitely going to do that. We're willing to do it too. We're in talks to take this rally to a couple of the schools here in the city, doing something a little more intimate and in-depth. And then also outside of Huntsville city limits, we're hoping to do a rally in Decatur. And definitely next year, Suicide Awareness Month is September, and we would love to visit different counties each weekend in the month of September and just change that up every year. So we got some big things in work. We just did a presentation to receive some donations for some other things that'll just make it possible and amazing. And God is just growing this thing beyond our imagination, and it's beautiful.
Outstanding. During the suicide prevention rally,
yes,
will there be people there or anyone there who might be able to talk to a parent to give them some insight of things to look out for your child who might be looking or on the way to want to commit suicide?
Yes, actually. So as I mentioned, we have lots of organizations. So we have partnered with the American Suicide Prevention, and I know I said that wrong, I'm so sorry. And then ASPARC, which is the Alabama Suicide Resources Prevention and Resources Coalition. And so they're going to be doing the class, but they also are going to be giving out material. And that's why we wanted those resource tables, right? So I might not know what you need in your household, but you'll see those tables, and they're going to have an opportunity to speak to who they are and what they do once we break for the resource section. So I need to go to that table, or I need to go to that table, and you can make those connections that best fit your household. But we will have organizations there to help. We have therapists and counseling, prayer partners, mentoring groups. Like I said, we try to think of everything.
Okay, all right. So if there's someone out there, if there's a viewer watching it and they want to get somebody signed up with Gabby, how can they go about doing that?
So we have social media. Facebook is Gabby. It's all little letters, GABBI, ; Girls Against Being Bullied, and it'll pull our page right up. You can inbox us. We will respond immediately almost. And then I can be emailed at Lorinda33, LARINDA. Lorinda33@gmail.com. Our flyers are circulating. My phone number is on there. You can reach out. And if we don't have the answer, then we are happy to connect you with the organization that can help and help you with your situation and move things forward for you and your family.
Okay, great. And if we can get the producer, if you can go ahead and put that in the chat for all those who are viewing so they can have that information, that would be outstanding for them to have that. So you are more than just the co-founder of Gabby.
Yes.
You have a very extensive background and a plethora of things. Talk to us about that.
So the most fun thing that I like to do besides Gabby, I host red carpets. And I host events. I have a pilot show in the makings. I am an event producer. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm an author. A published author. I have a children's book and another one in works. And also I am in contracts, intellectual property, and a whole lot of other stuff, training, teaching. So I just do a lot of things.
Wow. I could see why your calendar be so full. And folks, y'all might not understand, but every time I try to get a hold of her, it was like trying to get a hold of the president himself. And like this, Charles can't talk right now, I gotta go. Let's meet next week. Sorry, this week won't work for you. I'm busy right now. But that is amazing. That is amazing that you are doing that. And with so many things, and you still find time to give back and to help and to reach the children in our community that need this type of help that Gabby is going to be offering. I love that. I mean, I really, really do love that. Do we have a time frame when I think you said Mr. Hargrove is going to be putting the Heart? Is it the Heart Foundation? He said
it's the Heart Grove.
The Heart Grove. Do we have a time frame when the Heart Grove is going to be online for the young men to get that started?
Well, I hope he's watching so we can put some fire under him. But I think it'll be hopefully we'll be launching that next year sometime. And so we're still just working out the details. Do we do combined? Do we do separate? So we're just working through some of that, but we just got to get through Sunday right now. And then we can start planning for some other stuff. We do have a great event happening in October as well. So the AEB Foundation Talent Agency, is going to be hosting our girls for a hygiene day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're going to learn how to take care of their bodies, their hair, their skin. They're going to learn. We have a registered nurse, Arkesha Crutcher from Devoted Holistics, and she's going to be teaching them how to about their menstrual cycle and how to take care of their bodies at that time. They're going to do a photo shoot, light looks from some MUAs that are age appropriate. So it's going to be a fun time. So we do fun stuff too, but they're also going to be pouring into them during that time. So,
as a parent and grandparent of several children, I ain't going to tell y'all how many, but one of the things that I've always harped on with them is hygiene.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And it's amazing of how many children really don't think about that or take care of their bodies the way they're supposed to, especially those who start developing early.
Yes.
Way early. My granddaughter, when my daughter-in-law came in, she said, G. Paul, we got an issue. Like this, she's already started. I'm like, what? Yeah. It's not even 10 years old yet. I know, but I was like, oh man. So I think that is really important, to have a program like that too, where these kids can learn. Because a lot of times when they hear it from mom and they hear it from dad or grandma or whoever, oh, you're just on my back, or oh, they just want me to do this. But when they hear it from a total stranger, it's gospel.
Yep.
And then they want to come to you. Did you know that?
Light bulb.
Did you know you should take a bath at night and in the morning? Oh, really? Yeah. So when Mr. Johnson told you this, it's the gospel. But I've been saying it for the last 8 years. You're like, do I? Yes. Do I have to get in? Yes. So I think that is awesome, and I think our children really do need something like that, and that would be an amazing thing.
And you'd be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised. That's a reason that kids are bullied, right? That's one of the reasons too. Body odor and things like that. And so we try to tackle the areas that could be a topic of bullying, but also how many parents just assume their kids know it and they don't actually have the conversation or teach them, or they don't know how to approach it. And so we need to know that too as parents, like have the conversation. They don't just know, they don't just wake up and know I need to clean or do these things. So we got to really, again, encourage and being proactive with our kids.
I tell you what, I wasn't bullied in school, but I remember a distinct event that changed the course of my life. I remember there was the prettiest girl in school. Her name was Pamela Anderson. And Pamela, if you're out there watching this, I owe everything to you. One day I was walking through the door. I think I was in the 9th grade, and I went to reach over Pamela like this. I said, "Excuse me, Pamela." And the first thing she said, "Ooh, Fry, your armpits stink." I said, "Oh." I shuddered. I said, "Oh my gosh, not the prettiest girl in school just told me my armpits stink." From that day forth, I made sure I had deodorant on stock like nobody's business. I kept some in my locker room. I kept it in my desk. I kept it on 2 bottles in my car. I had deodorant everywhere. My friends were like, "Fry, why you got so much deodorant?" Hey, you ain't gonna catch me stinking, nobody. Never. So I learned from that. So I be taking baths, but even my grandkids now be talking about, "G. Paul, why are you taking another shower? You can never stay too clean. You can never stay too clean."
Do you project your the areas that you were bullied on? Do you project it on your kids? Because I know, I said I used to flood, right? So if my kids' jeans touch a certain point on their shoes, we got to get new jeans.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, why am I doing this?
Oh yeah, they know.
Like, we got to get new jeans. Oh my God.
With my grandkids, I used to have inspection time. Like, hey, it's inspection time. Did you take a bath? Yes, we took a bath. Come on, smell test. I smell their neck. That neck ain't smelling too good. You sure you got that neck? You need to practice something. You need to do something. You need to do good there. So we got a question out there from one of the viewers. Let's see if we can pull that question up. We got there at the bottom. Let's see. It says, yep, that one there. Whoa, that one's a whoop far away.
I was gonna say I cannot see
I
that.
said, it says I was in trouble a lot in my youth because my parents just expected me to
Yep.
but took no time to teach me
That's
things.
right.
Hey, you know what, Samantha? That
That.
is a good point.
Yeah.
That is a very good point because we do not, as parents, take time to teach our kids
Yeah.
anything because we're just expecting them to. And I think that's one of the reasons why yourself and your organization and CNI Solutions,
Yep.
what we're doing now, especially with the financial literacy, because we know from how it was with us, we didn't get it. So
Yep.
we're going to try to educate our parents and try to educate the kids now to get them ahead of the game so that they understand and know more. So, hey, so thank you for that comment, Samantha. That is a very, very good point there on saying that. You know, and going back to your question, yeah, you're right. I do project what happened to me to my kids to make sure it doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen to them. The whole high waters, the clothes. Even to this day, I tell my son, like, hey, those clothes ain't looking too good, son.
Yeah.
We need to change those like right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, Dad, there's nothing. Oh, there's a whole lot wrong with those. Let's change them like this. And it doesn't matter how old they are. I'm still doing that. And my grandkids, they already know that.
Yeah.
They already know who I am. They already know that. Got another question out there from one of the viewers. And folks, please excuse me for it's hard to see. You see, I got my spectacles on, but we're going to make some arrangements. But it says here, this is such a good program because as adults we take time to. What does that say?
We
don't take time to learn every
how to
thing
parent
about
correctly.
Right. Yeah, you're right, Samantha. That is correct. We
Right.
don't take that time, and thank you for that. That is correct on that. And I definitely love what you're doing, and I definitely love to be a part of this like this. And we're all going to link up, and I'm going to get with your young ladies,
Yes.
so we can get that financial literacy class
Yep.
taught to them, so they have a little bit more underneath their belt, a little bit more learning like this, and mentorship, anything that CNI Solutions can do. We're going to be there to help with this, especially once we get into, if Mr. Hargrove, if you're watching, we got to get that program up and running, sir, because there's some young men out there who need your support.
That's right.
They need to be enrolled into that bullying program, and we need to get this fixed because we need to stop this. We need to stop it. So we're counting on you. I'm going to be looking for you. I'm going to be wanting to hear from you. In fact, give us a call, 256-459-6020. If you can't reach me on the phone, reach me by email. That's going to be charles.frye, F-R-Y-E, at cni-solutions.org. Please look me up so that we can link up, so that we can figure out how I can help and assist with the men's program on the bullying, because I do want to help be part of this change, because that's one of the big things is, if I want to see change in this world, it's got to start with me.
Yep, absolutely. And speaking of that, when you said link up, I just want to say that I have been wowed as we have planned this event at the organizations that are saying yes. I got out of probably 40 calls, I probably got one no.
Wow.
And everybody knows it's community,
right?
And it's the village, and we're coming together. And that's why my heart is so touched. And I'm so excited because it's not just us, and even organizations saying, let's do something next year. Let's make sure we're still connected.
Right.
And so that's the beauty of it. And again, back to her comment, you'd be surprised as to how many parents do not teach it, but sometimes they don't know. You can't give what's not in you. So they haven't been taught. And I've met women in their 40s and 50s that said, nobody taught me. I didn't know. And I still don't know. I still struggle with understanding some things. And so just even that part, and the parents, mothers, fathers, you can come and hang out with us and be there. It's still, again, we're a community. We have fun. We connect. We stay in touch. So, yeah.
Hey, again, viewers, those who are watching, please share this. Please take time to share it and send it to some of your friends and family that's got kids that might not know what to do, or got kids that are being bullied, or even if they're bullies themselves. Let's go ahead and get that to them so they understand, because I really think that it is important. I really think that they need to understand that. One of the things that we have here at the bottom says, how do we identify if our own child is a bully? Ouch. Ooh. How do you do that? How do you do that, man?
So I don't have all the answers, but I will say that for me, in my situation, the parents of the bullies, they were aware that something was happening,
Right.
And so you're getting these calls from the school administrators constantly that there's something going on. And even if they're not going into detail or your child has been identified, just really being active, showing up at the school, finding out what happened, not always quick to defend, well, my child wouldn't do, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But really seeking to get to the heart of it and understand, paying attention to how your child interacts with other kids. Are they snatching? Are they mine out, yelling, aggressive? Those are some symptoms to me. And even like I said, when I go up to the schools and I'm active, it's so funny because the bullies are gravitating to me too, and they're wanting to come and hang out and be around us too. And that's why we said that we wanted to work with the bullies. In my heart, I was like, I don't want to do this. They messing with my baby. But God impressed upon my heart, just seeing the innocence in their eyes, in their heart, reaching out like they were trying to connect still. And so I had to be responsible and be obedient. But I think personally, and we're going to have some people there that can help you with this answer too. So you need to come on down to the rally Sunday from 2 to 4. But I think just sometimes we get on these phones and we get tied up with everything and we're not paying attention, or we dismiss the red flags that are there. And so I think just paying more attention and having that conversation, like what happened today? Or why did you have this argument? Or what led to the, and what was your response? Just getting more into what they got going on.
Yeah. Producer, if you could bring up that last question. I think we had another question up there. It says, what is mostly done in bullying and what is the process that's being done in schools?
That's a good one. So I want to talk about the second part first because I got this one. As part of my situation in trying to find a solution to what was going on, I found that Governor Kay Ivey actually has implemented a new act, an anti-bullying act, and it's mandated for the state of Alabama. And this happened because, unfortunately, we had a young man that committed suicide a few years ago here in Huntsville. And so part of that settlement, for lack of better words, but it was that they had to revisit the bullying act and create something to help. And so I was reaching out to the principals and I was sending emails and coming up to the school. But then when we got to the level where we wanted to elevate it and I called the superintendent, they said, well, did you go online and fill out a bullying incident report? And I was like, no, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Nobody told me. So if you have incidences of bullying or where your child is being, that's physical, emotional, mental, verbal, whatever it is, for Huntsville City Schools, you go onto their website and you fill out an incident report. Now, also, I can provide you with a spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet that I created as part of my situation, and we listed like the name, my daughter's name, the date of the incident, who was involved with the incident, the witnesses of the incident, who I emailed or talked to and what their information is, what the follow-up date was, what the outcome, what the conversation was that child punished? They can't tell me what happened, but they can say, did they deal with it? And so I kept up with all that. I responded to the email, I fill it out. So I have a whole spreadsheet. And for me, that process helped because when I went up to the state level, I said, I've been documenting. They said, can you send it? And as soon as I sent my spreadsheet, I started getting calls because now they know I'm serious. And if you can't just say this happened and I talked to Mr. Charles sometime in February, but I don't remember. And then I talked to this lady over here. So you have to really document what's going on. You need dates and times and names and everything documented. And like I said, I'm happy to share a template that you can use and walk you through it and help you understand how to go through it if you need it, or I could just send it over. But there is a process. And so you need to make sure that you're doing the incident report form on the school's website.
Outstanding. Hey,
go ahead.
Hey, if you was watching and if you didn't get all that information, just reach out here to CNI Solutions, and I have her personal contact information, and I'll make sure that you get that spreadsheet or whatever information you need from her in regards to that. So it's going to help or assist with your child who may be a bully or who is being bullied, so that we can get that. And you bring up a good point. You mentioned something that I didn't even think about. What is the process? What steps am I supposed to take? And just like you said, I didn't know I was supposed to go online and fill out an anti-bullying form like this. And that might be the same across the states, guys. Those who are watching in different states, your particular state and county and school district may have something similar where you might have to go online and fill something out for that, and if you're watching this, it's probably best to do it now than later.
Yes, it is.
Find out what the process is now than later, because if your child's in second grade, heck, they still got another, 8 years to go. They still got to go through. Yes. So you never know what might happen in between that time. So as long as you know the process and what to do now, that would help. Or if you know the process now, to help share it with another person whose child might be going through it, that will help as well. And that will help alleviate and before that child gets to that point, to whereas we don't have to have as many suicide prevention rallies like just for our children, because they're going through some things at school and they just can't take it no more.
Yes. And then there was another part to that question, what was causing the bullying, right?
Right.
And I think that is, it could be a lot of things. We know of a young lady whose parent was incarcerated, and so she was angry about that. We have young ladies that we know of that, may not have, as much money or, their status socially or economically, and they feel intimidated or jealous. We have people that have been bullied, and so they become the bully as a protection mechanism. It's so many different reasons. Sexual abuse, that's a trauma response, for physical, domestic violence. Is so many reasons that kids can turn to bullying or become the bully. So it just, it's so many reasons, and that's why I want to get to the heart of it. And we want to work with the kids that are going through it. Parents might be overwhelmed. You might have a single mother with 4 or 5 kids, and she's working all the time, so she doesn't even have the energy or the time or the resources, which is why we got the resource table, so you can connect with the agencies that can help relieve some of the burden.
Love it. I love it. Hey, thank you for coming out, spending time with us. Is there anything you would like to share with our viewers before we go ahead and close?
Ooh, yes. Just want to let you all know that this rally is very important. We're trying to save lives here, and so it's going to be amazing. We got the discussion panel happening for the parents and caregivers, where we're going to have a substance abuse and family therapist. We're going to have a youth mentor. We're going to have a loved one, a surviving loved one of a suicide victim, and we'll be able to have that open dialogue, questions, answers between the adults. And while we're doing that, the young people are going to be in workshops based off a grade, and we have different organizations that are sponsoring those to pour back into them and to talk about specific topics. And it's been proven that doing things with your hand, activities with your hands, actually helps relieve depression. It helps lift it. And so they're going to be doing activities with their hands while they're having the conversation with those workshop facilitators. And then we're going to break and go to meet the resource tables and get you connected. We're going to have music and food. And so it's just going to be a really great time to be together and come together and see this village in action.
Outstanding. I love it. We got one more question up there. It says, in Washington State, where they're from, we have a shortage of school counselors and resources officers. Is that something is going on in Huntsville as well?
I don't believe so. Well, I will say I can't speak for this as a fact, but I don't believe so. We actually have assigned to the school district. So you remember when I said I went up to that state level, we actually have a resource counselor that is for the district. And so she reached out to me, and she's going to be there, but she's connected to the different schools. Now, some of the schools might have a shortage in counselors assigned to that school, but there still are resources available through the school system, through the district. And part of the act that Governor Kay Ivey implemented, one thing that I suggest you do, especially if you're dealing with bullying, is to understand. So when I send my emails, I cite a clause in the act. So it's all that gets your attention, like, oh, okay, so she know, let me this she about business. But that kind of puts the fire under their feet as well. But I like I said, just in my situation, I've been so blessed, and this thing has turned all the way around. We're in our 5th grade year now. She loves school. She has her voice, her confidence. Wow. And some of the bullies are now reaching out to connect with her as a friend. And her heart is so big that she's open to that. Wow. Now, but she's still now like, now, if you put your hands on me this time. So she's got that confidence. And I'm going to tell you, I got to tell you one more thing. This is so awesome, y'all. We did Rocket City MMA. they hosted us for a self-defense class, and we got to get in the cage, and they learned not to beat somebody up, but how to get out of a situation if somebody's on you or attacking you. Just not even bullying. What if your daughter goes to the bathroom or your son goes to the bathroom and somebody attacks them? That's happening now. And so we learned self-defense. And when we came out of there were different girls. Our girls were so different. All of them, they had their confidence back and they had their voice. And so that's all we're trying to do, is make sure that we give them a voice and the resources and the knowledge and the self-confidence to get just to navigate through this short period of time. Because life really begins after, I tell my kids that life begins after you leave here, after you leave school. You just, you're here to learn, but your life begins outside of that. So outstanding.
Hey, kudos to Rockets City MMA. Hey, I definitely appreciate y'all guys supporting these young ladies. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the wonderful questions. I appreciate that. I appreciate my stand-in producer trying to do their best with us. So I know y'all probably noticed it ain't the same as my normal producer, but hey, they are working it for us. And as always, remember, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.